Good afternoon and welcome to the June meeting of the Seneca County IDA. That's the first topic on the agenda is we have a new board member. Sue, what is it? Cirincione, I think. Hopefully not butchering that too bad. Oh, yeah, I can't hear you. Still can't.
How's that?
Yeah, much better.
Better. Okay.
So, yeah, so I guess if you can give us a little background on yourself, introduce yourself to the board.
Sure. So I was born and raised here, lived here for 25 years in Seneca County. Ended up having to move to Ontario County as my husband's a law enforcement officer in Ontario County, so we've lived there for a few years. And then recently came back to the store where I basically grew up and purchased that in February of last year and have been running that since. So I would say a longtime resident of Seneca County and now a business owner in Seneca County. Are you guys still there? Can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're still here. Yeah. Well, yeah, I have to. The hard part is, yeah, we want to make sure everyone keeps themselves muted when not speaking, just because of the feedback here, and which is, yeah, I forget half the time. And also when someone starts talking, if they can let everyone know who it is, so for the public and everyone else.
Gotcha.
So I guess with that, and hopefully this will be our last actual go-to meeting, virtual meeting. If everything goes well, hopefully the next meeting will actually be in person. And for half of us, it'll be the first time we've actually physically seen each other. So with that, I think we'd start off the meeting with approval of the IDA minutes from May 6th. Does anyone have any corrections, changes, or questions? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And second, well, between Bruce, Steve, and Tom, we have a motion and a second. Kelly, roll call.
Mr. Bruto?
Yes.
Mr. Case? Mrs. Cirincione?
Here.
Mr. Kime?
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Murray?
Yes.
Mrs. Tom Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Trout?
Yes.
Mr. Wadhams?
Yes.
Mr. Case, absent, motion carried.
Next item on the agenda are the financials. Before I go through that, just as a quick, it's either a reminder for some people, new for others. Each month, the IDA staff, Sarah, Pat, Kelly, along with the IDA treasurer, who happens to be myself right now, our CFO, Bob Kernan, our accountant, and our bookkeeper meet at the middle, roughly the middle of each month, to review the financial statements generated at the close of the previous month, make sure everything's set. One of these, if anyone is interested in attending one or more of these to get a better idea on how the financials are, give an opportunity to ask more in-depth questions, let us know. Certainly welcome, because as you see, there's a lot of information in the financials, and especially for people who are not as financially oriented, they can be a little daunting at times. So again, that reminder for everybody there. On the actual financials, not a lot of activity. About the only major highlights, looking at the balance sheet for April, we did have a $55,000 payoff from Hipshot, which was good on the plus side. Also, looking at the income statement, we did receive the annual contribution from the county of $54,000. Those were the big items. The only other major update that I really have is, and we'll be speaking about this, I suspect, later in other business with the Sampson's Veteran Memorial Cemetery, that it looks like we've made the last transfer we need to make since the IDA EDC has been paying for the maintenance and operation of the Veterans Memorial Cemetery for the last 10 years. That'll be turned back over to the county at the end of June. And it looks like our cost during the 10-year period will be at $866,263. So any questions, comments on the financials? I guess hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
So made. Tom. Second, this is Don.
Kelly, for roll?
Mr. Brusso,
Yes.
Mrs. Cerencion?
Yes.
Mr. Keim?
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Trout?
Yes.
Mr. Wadhams?
Yes.
Mr. Case, absent, motion carried.
Next item on the agenda is a discussion on draft RFP for engineering services for potential new industrial park site. So Sarah, if you could fill us in on the activity and the proposal.
Sure. So as you're all aware, one of the major goals that was outlined in the Economic Development Strategic Plan is the need to develop new and additional shovel-ready sites in our county to attract and allow for the expansion of more businesses. So, you know, our Deer Run Industrial Park is starting to fill up. We only have a few more lots left and they're fairly small in size. So we've identified the need based on conversations with businesses for a larger space. We're targeting somewhere between 50 and 100 acres for a potential industrial park site. What we're looking to do is get a motion from the board that would allow us to draft an RFP so we can go out and solicit engineering services to help us identify potential weaknesses in certain sites or potential gaps in infrastructure, things that would need to be addressed so that when it comes time to actually select a site, we can make the best informed decision possible. It's likely that whatever proposals we get from engineering firms would ultimately need to be approved by our board, provided that the dollar value is over a certain amount. Following procurement guidelines, we'll have to come back for approval. So right now, this is just seeking approval to draft an RFP. Our goal is going to be to use some state grant money that we have to actually pay for the engineering services. So this wouldn't be coming out of IDA operating funds. it would be coming out of a grant that we already have that needs to get used up, you know, before the end of the year, although we're really looking to apply for another small extension to give us a little more wiggle room on that. Are there any questions?
Sarah, this is Tom Murray. Just a quick question. Have you identified, or is there any way we know how many sites are currently in the county that you're looking at? Due to the lack of infrastructure, a lot of pieces, I would know of too many. Has IDA identified two of these?
So to answer your question, Tom, we're right now trying to formalize the list of sites. We have somewhere between 1 and 3, and we're trying to get in touch with the owners of the various pieces of property, determine you know, willingness to sell or willingness to work with us on a project like this. So the final number hasn't been set yet, but you know, so the RFP would be for preliminary site work on anywhere between 1 and 3 sites ultimately, all for the most part located along the Route 318 corridor, because that's where the bulk of land with at least some of the basic infrastructure is available.
Thank you.
Just to add on to that, onto Tom's thought, I would just encourage us to exhaust all potential opportunities in the opportunity zone out in Border City. Just to, I know that there may or may not be land, right? But I just would like to see us exhaust all opportunities so we can take advantage potentially of the opportunity zone.
So we've been looking at potential sites there and are running into some difficulty, as you mentioned, Jeff, with the land, trying to find something that could accommodate a big enough scale. But obviously we're not done yet. Still, you know, trying to track down different property owners and figure out what kinds of options we may have. So Border City is certainly on the table. And if for some reason, you know, something doesn't work out for this project, that certainly doesn't rule out future potential projects of, you know, either an industrial park nature or some other kind of type of project.
Yeah, it certainly sounds, Sarah, like you've done or you're doing your due diligence in that area. I just wanted to make sure that our board was aware that this is a identified area in the strategic economic plan as well, and just so we can say we've exhausted our opportunities in the opportunity zone. So yeah, it sounds like you're there. I just wanted to make sure that was clear to the board.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yes, I think, you know, having an outside firm come in will help, you know, maybe even identify some additional sites. We've always had difficulties in the past because, you know, businesses want to come in, and how many sites already have the adequate utilities, electric, gas if needed, water, sewer, good connection to transportation, sometimes potential rail service, and the sites are very limited. So it is hard to attract someone if we don't have something like this, so they can't come in and shovel ready site versus having to put in all the utilities themselves. So
right, and that's not to say that with this type of study that all the sites that we're looking at potentially are going to meet the full criteria already for being shovel ready. It's quite likely that, you know, maybe the strongest site will not have natural gas, but maybe there'll be some up the street. So, you know, those are all factors that we're looking into currently, and just trying to get a better assessment of, you know, what it would cost the IDA to bring the site potentially to shovel readiness if it's not there already, because that seems to be the more likely case in this.
yes. So what we're looking for then is a motion from the board, or resolution from the board, or permission from the board, I should say, to go ahead with this engineering study to identify potential industrial sites. So can I have a motion to move ahead with this engineering to go out for RFPs?
So moved. It's
Motion.
approved.
Second, Tom.
Kelly, roll.
Mr. Brusso?
Yes.
Mr. Case, absent. Mrs. Cerencione? Mr. Keim?
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Trout?
Yes.
Mr. Wadham?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thanks, everyone. Next item, Jeff, if you could give us an update on the County Chamber of Commerce.
Certainly, Steve. I'll start with the chamber, but I definitely want to bring the board up to speed on the status of our One Seneca group as well. The big news at the Chamber of Commerce that I really want to encourage all of the IDA board members to make sure you spread this message. The state of New York is launching a grant-based program next week on June 10th for COVID relief. Pandemic relief, basically, is what the grants are for. There is $800 million that has been put into the fund by the state, and they will be giving out grant awards based on the overall gross receipts of a business. So if you fall in one of three categories, you could expect anywhere from a $5,000 all the way up to as much as a $50,000 grant. Again, based on your gross receipts. Businesses will have to be able to prove at least a 25% loss from COVID from 2019 to 2020. And the eligible businesses are really in three categories. Small businesses defined by the state as anything under 100 employees, micro businesses defined as 10 or less, and for-profit arts and cultural businesses. So think tourism businesses, but they have to be for-profit. Nonprofits are eligible and governments are ineligible, and nonprofits are ineligible as well. So this program, again, launches on the 10th, June 10th, which is very soon. The Chamber is one of the is serving in an advisory capacity. It's an area where people can help come and get help with this application process. It's going to be an online application process. The state is working on setting the website up as we speak. So very, very important that we get this information to all of our businesses here in the county. I've talked to Sarah about it. I've talked to Jill Henry at the county about it. So we're trying to work on ways that we can utilize all three organizations' email lists or communications lists, if you will, so we can get this message out. Really important that anyone that is thinking of this jumps on it early, because I have a feeling that $800 million is going to go super quick. So if we don't jump on it early, I think our business community is going to be left in the shuffle here. So that's the really important news from the Chamber of Commerce standpoint. And then I wanted to bring the board up to speed on what we've been up to with a One Seneca collaborative. So keep in mind that is the IDA, the Chamber of Commerce, the county government, and there are a host of other business entities, nonprofit organizations, and community members that are a part of this. We had for about a year and a half, I think it was, held weekly meetings on the COVID pandemic in our community, and with an emphasis on our business world response to COVID in the county. Those were very successful, widely attended. Every Thursday we held those for about a year and a half from 10 to 10:30. For the last 2 weeks, we have shifted the One Seneca focus to be on the economic development plan, the IDA Strategic Economic Development Plan. And we held our first session last week from 10 to 10:30. We had a huge crowd in attendance. We held our second today, and it was also well attended. Obviously myself, Sarah, Mitch Rowe, the county manager, is in these meetings, as well as Jill Henry from the county planning department. So really great cooperation and collaboration. Each week, it's not a long time commitment, a half hour. It's meant for that way on purpose, so we can get people in and out and on with their day. But really productive half-hour session to give an update. We really dive in on we focus in on one particular economic development goal or initiative and talk a little bit more through that. And then give some update time to our partners at County, IDA, and Chamber. So I would encourage all of you, if you haven't received those emails, please get a hold of me and we'll make sure we add you to the distribution list. Love to have more IDA members on those calls on a regular basis. Sarah does a great job in overviewing the latest status, I guess, if you will, of what the strategic plan initiatives have been. Mitch does a great job from the county standpoint, and I try to do that from the chamber as well. So I want to definitely make sure all of you are aware of this, encourage you to participate on it. It is, I think, a display of the cooperation, the collaboration, the ability of all three entities to work together. And, I know there's been media and press maybe to the contrary or suggesting otherwise, but I think our community needs to know and understand that these three organizations are committed to the strategic plan, are working on implementation of it, and there is great cooperation from the agency level, from the executives of those entities. So that's my report, Steve.
Thanks, Jeff. Next, Don, if you could give an update from the Board of Supervisors.
Sure. We've received the first half of the federal assistance from COVID, and we put together a small committee. There's a lot of volunteers for it to see how best to spend the money. Obviously, we have a lot of infrastructure issues in the county, so the whole thing could go towards those issues down at the south end, especially with our sewer, and it'll be put to good use and probably fix a lot of problems that we have in our sewer that I don't know if we would have been able to fix them without the money. So it'll be a good thing, I believe. And the other thing is the Board of Supervisors would like to meet with the IDA board and an executive session and have a discussion about the IDA line. I'm kind of in the middle, obviously reporting back and forth, and it's not too much of an issue to do it. It's just, I feel like sometimes I'm putting words in other people's mouths if I'm not saying it exactly correct. So before the next committee meeting, they would like to have an executive session and just discuss everything that's going on and what the board's thoughts are, and having both the boards together. The county board feels like that might be a good way to go. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but we certainly would like to do it. That's
Thanks.
pretty much
I'll just jump in and say that I spoke with Mitch about this a little bit just earlier this week. So we're trying to figure out what the best approach is for that, and I'll be in touch with all of our board members here. If we do move forward with a joint executive session, so we can coordinate the scheduling of that. So just keep an eye out for your emails.
Okay, yeah, we're not gonna hold anybody up either. If we decide to do it, we're gonna do it right at the beginning of the meeting. That way, nobody's got to stick around for the 2-3 hour marathon meetings that we have. That's all I got.
Thanks, John. That's, yeah, just for my comment on that is, yeah, I think, unfortunately, there's been a lot of, back and forth between the IDA, Board of Supervisors, some misunderstandings, et cetera, et cetera. So need to get some of this cleared up and behind us so we can move forward.
Absolutely.
Other business. First item is the Sampson Veterans Memorial Cemetery, officially designated as the first New York State Veteran Cemetery. So Sarah, if you have anything else you'd like to add to this?
I would just, like to thank Mitch. He's on the phone. Obviously, was a key part of getting that designation, as well as the whole committee locally, Senator Zoloyo and quite a few other people that really came together to make this happen. As you all know, our contract to operate the cemetery was coming to an end anyway in June. That's still the case. And then, the county will handle the transition between them and the state over the next few months. Mitch, do you have anything that you want to add about the cemetery?
Going back to my first time with the county, I can't thank the IDA/EDC enough for stepping up a decade ago to do what you did. God only knows what the outcome would have been had you not done that. And so the fact that the state made this selection as the 10-year commitment was coming to an end, part of me feels like it was meant to be. And again, I can't thank you all enough for stepping up. I don't know what would have happened a decade ago had you not. And so thank you again. I don't know, everybody may or may not know, but my father is interned there. So it's not only a important place professionally, but it is for me personally as well. And the designation by the state, not only is it of high honor, but it will save the county literally millions and millions of dollars over time. I took interest in the 10-year total of a little over 800,000. The state has made a 10-year projection of 1.2 million, and then as more families choose Sampson as their final resting spot, and as more of the site gets developed, those annual operating costs are only going to go up. And the fact that the firehouse is done now, and you got the utilities, the heat, the air conditioning, and things that for most of the 10 years didn't exist. It is a great achievement for the county. And again, thank you so much for the 10 years of care and commitment. And I think the state timeline for actual state transfer, the earliest, the sense I have right now is the earliest will be on or about October 1st, possibly April 1 of next year, to line up with the next state fiscal year. But when the county board adopted the 2021 county budget, we did account for costs as of July 1st. And Sarah and Kelly and Bill and I had a call a couple weeks ago to ensure that any pending contracts or any accounts that are open will smoothly transition over at the end of the month. So thank you again.
Thanks, Mitch. And also, yeah, definitely want to thank both Pat and Kelly for the last 10 years of work on this. That you never thought you'd be operating a cemetery for 10 years as part of your job description, but we go with the flow. Uh, Next item is, as you all know now, that Menzo has decided to step down from the IDA board effective the end of this month. Unfortunately, he's not here at the meeting, but definitely want to thank him for his 3 years of service to the board. Definitely will miss his insight, his professionalism that he brings to the board. And I think above all, I don't know who's going to go and make the motion to adjourn at the end of the meeting with him gone. So we'll have to figure that one out. And then as you know, Don had mentioned, looks like we'll be speaking more on the, you know, with the Board of Supervisors. Hopefully the process to select new board members will be a major part of this. We did have a good agreement with the county back in 2015. And for some reason, it just seemed to fall apart. So hopefully we can get back, come to a good agreement on how we proceed going forward before we look for a replacement for Menzo. With that said, any other business? If not, we have an executive session. So I request a motion to enter into executive session for discussion on the proposed acquisition, sale, or lease of real property where publicity could substantially affect the value thereof.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, second.
Second, Bruce.
Okay, Kelly, roll.
Mr. Brusso,
Yes.
Mr. Time,
Yes.
Mrs. Sorrentino,
Yeah.
Mr. Bruce Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Trout,
Yes.
Mr. Wadhams,
Yes.
Mr. Case absent, motion carried.
Welcome back. We're out of executive session. During executive session, we've been discussing the potential sale of lots 1 and 2, currently at the Deer Run Industrial Park that the IDA owns and operates, to Best Made Products. We have a resolution before the board to start that process to sell lots 1 and 2 to Best Made. So can I have a motion to approve the resolution before us?
So moved, Mr. Don.
I can second. This is Steve.
Roll call.
Mr. Brusso,
Yes.
Mrs. Sorrentino,
Yes.
Mr. Time,
We have the terms and conditions in any of this that I don't see, or maybe I'm missing it, regarding how long they have to develop it, some of the terms and conditions of it. I'm in favor of the sale and agree with that. It doesn't seem that we have some of the aspect of this that has those contingencies in it as part of what we have.
Yeah, so Tom, the way that was structured at the last time we sold IDA property at Run, those contingencies were included in a second approval that was done prior to the final sale and transfer of the property. So
Yeah,
we'll have
yeah, and
another
that's
meeting.
fine. Yeah, that's fine with me. Just these documents that are here basically approves it. The purchase offer is here, which is a part of all that. If that's executed the way it is, and none of those are contingencies are there. So we're agreeing in concept to sell this for these dollar prices and these lots, contingent upon a final second approval, with contingencies be put in that one.
Yes.
Okay. All right, the minutes can reflect that, then the documents don't. Then, so, but I'm in favor of it with that understanding.
Mr. Bruce Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Tom Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Mr. Trout,
Yes.
Mr. Wadums,
Yes.
Mr. Case absent, motion carried.
Unless anyone else has any other business, could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. This is Don.
I can second. This is Steve.
Well, voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So, well, thanks everyone, and hopefully we'll see each other in person for the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thanks everyone.